I had a mother who read to me the sagas of pirates who scoured the seas, cutlasses clenched in their yellow teeth, with blackbirds stored in the hold beneath. I had a mother who read me lays of ancient and gallant and golden days, stories of Marmion and Ivanhoe which every boy has a right to know. I had a mother who read me the tales of Gellert the Hound in the hills of Wales, true to his trust till his tragic death, faithfulness lent with his dying breath. I had a mother who read me the things that a wholesome life to the boy heart brings, stories that stir with an upward touch. Oh, that every mother of boys were such. You may have tangible wealth untold, caskets of jewels, and coffers of gold. Richer than I you will never be. I had a mother who read to me. This behind me and around me and that I am within is my backyard here in Montgomery, Alabama. And this is my mother to stay present to the most wonderful mother since Eve or Mary, Nola Jean. And I just wanted to say thank you, Mom, for all of the wonderful things that you've done for me. That poem, talks about one little thing in general about reading to me, which is, statistically speaking, one of the most important things a mother can do for their children. But you did a lot more. You made it so that I recognize the plant that I'm sitting in front of right now. Can't see it. It's that little one that's been hacked down. Where is it? There it is, back behind my head. The problem with steering this that I can still see it there. That one that the Sphinx in front of. That's what it looks like after the pruning job done by my roommates who didn't have mothers that taught them how to prune. So that they took a set of hedge clippers, electric hedge clippers, to the rose bush. And I almost killed them for it. But it's okay, I still love them. My mother taught me to read. She taught me to sing. She taught me to love music, to have it in my heart and in my mind all of the time. She didn't teach us, as some kids do, or are taught by church leaders or whatever, to sing a hymn when they have bad thoughts, or to use music to cheer yourself up. She just taught us to always have Him in our hearts and in our minds, to always be singing, to always have music within us and surround ourselves with it. That doesn't mean that I have an iPod, or an iPad, or any of those stupid things, because she taught us to internalize the music, to realize that what we did, what we heard, was really up to us and was in our own minds and our own heads. She taught us that about the gospel, too. That the gospel wasn't something you did on Sunday. It wasn't something you read in the Bible only. That it wasn't something you heard about from teachers or from preachers. That the gospel is something that you did. That it's something that you lived. That it's something that you were. Just like she taught us with music. I've shared this story before with other folks, but it's really one of my favorites. And that's how I learned to read, and how I learned to read and memorize things so quickly. And that's because when I was a little kid, my mother was always singing in the choirs. She would always sing in our worship meetings. And I noticed that even though she would hold the book in her hands, the hymnal, she would barely ever look at it. And I thought she just read the entire hymn really fast, because she would only glance down every now and then. Now I realize she was just double-checking words and whatnot. But I thought she read the whole line or the whole verse in just those single glances. So that made me want to learn how to read that fast. And now I can read that fast, although I've since learned that she can't. But it's thanks to her, and thanks to that I can go to the library here in Montgomery after a friend recommends a book to me. Thank you, Amelia Ruth, by the way, for that recommendation. I can sit down and in 2 hours I'll have an entire novel finished, and it'll be wonderful. But anyway, I'm digressing. One of the most important things my mother gave me is the understanding that people matter. That no matter who they are and where they are, in Alabama, or Utah, or North Carolina, or Chile, or Bahia, Brazil, or Fort Collins, Dallas, wherever else my family is, sorry mosquitoes, that people matter, and you need to love them and you need to serve them. Today we talked in our Sunday school about sacrificing, and about how sometimes you have to give up things. And the whole conversation was about things temporal that we have to give up. You know, the framing story was Christ and the Rich Young Ruler, which isn't the title of the story in the Bible. It's the title of a painting by Heinrich Hoffmann. It's one of my favorites, but that's a digression that doesn't matter. Those are the puppies next door. They're cute. Not as cute as our puppy, but they're so cute. I can't remember where I'm going with this. Thinking. Oh yes, about how you have to give more than just your money. You have to give up more than just your time. Be fit for the kingdom of God. And my mother was a great example of that. My mother had some pretty incredible dreams, some pretty incredible talents. And she gave up those in great measure when she married my dad. I will be forever grateful for that single sacrifice she made of a beautiful and talented and kind and hardworking woman who married a nerdy military brat from Idaho who, yeah, somehow or other, none of us kids could still figure it out, swept her off her feet. But I'm grateful that my mother gave up her temper when raising us children. If you know me at all, you know that I'm kind of a handful, and that I know for a fact that I ticked off my mother a whole ton. I can only guess the amount of times I angered her, the amount of times I hurt her with my actions or with my own unthinking comments. And I can remember how my mother always handled that herself with grace in those situations. My other siblings might have different memories. I seem to have been the lucky one there. But thank you, Mom, for teaching me that you have to give up more than your wealth for your family, for your children, or for service, or for charity. Thank you for teaching me that we have to give up sometimes our anger, our fears, even our self-interest, our egos, our personal desires. Thank you for teaching me that it's not where I am, it's not who I'm with, but it's who I am that will matter in the long run, and it's what I do for the others around me. People often ask me, like why I wander from place to place, and why I don't really have a settled home, and even why I came here to Alabama. And it's because of the example of my parents, my mother in particular, of always serving. I can't tell you the number of times I came home from school, and there would be a note or there'd be nothing, because my mom was out with other women in our church ward. She was out watching kids. I grew up with other children in the home besides just the 6 that belonged to our family, because my mother would watch them so their parents could work. I don't think she ever got paid for this either. When I was at a really rough point in my life, despite the fact that my mother and my father had said they were never going to invite their children back to the house, they did for me. Well, my mother did for me. My dad was against it then. He's against it now, even though my mother would still invited me to come back to Idaho to live, even at this late stage in my life. But thank you, Mom, for that too. Thank you for always believing in me. Thank you for always making sure that I knew I had a home to go back to. Even when I was a stupid teenager, and I preferred other homes to ours, and other parents' moms to my own. You really always were my favorite, and you still are, and I love you. And so, with that, I want to end with the very first poem I learned that wasn't a song. Every time I watch my nieces and nephews, or I babysit other kids, I always end the night with the same lullaby my mom sang to me. But this is different. It's the song for a fifth child by Ruth Colbert Hamilton. Mother, oh mother, come shake out the cloth. Empty the dustpan and poison the moth. Hang out the washing and butter the bread. Sew on a button and make up a bed. Where is the mother whose house is so shocking? She's up in the nursery, blissfully rocking. Oh, I've grown as shiftless as Little Boy Blue. Lullaby, rockabye, lullaby, loo. Dishes are waiting and bills are past to do. Pat a cake, darling, and peek-a-peek-a-boo. The shopping's not done and there's nothing for stew, and out in the yard there's a hullabaloo. But I'm playing Kanga, and this is my rue. Look, aren't his eyes the most wonderful hue? The cooking and scrubbing will wait till tomorrow, but children grow up, as I've learned to my sorrow. So quiet down, cobwebs, dust, go to sleep. I'm rocking my baby, and babies don't keep. I love you. Thank you so much, and happy Mother's Day.